Okay, good morning everybody. Today we are going to do a claim evidence reasoning, a CER, on a Wack-A-Pac. What is our question for today? We want to see, how do we know if a physical or chemical change has taken place? You will investigate by taking a look at this balloon over here and seeing whether or not a physical or a chemical change has taken place when we whack it. That's why it's called a Wack-A-Pac. We're going to use CER, or claim evidence reasoning, to determine if a chemical change or a physical change has taken place on the Wack-A-Pac. Now, if we were doing this in groups, in person, you would have to have your safety goggles to keep your eyes safe. What materials do you need? You need one Wack-A-Pac, which I have here, and you need a digital scale, which we have right here, and you can see it's already set up to show 0 grams. So, what is a Wack-A-Pac? Before we get started, let's take a look at some background information. Wack-A-Pacs are small balloons that inflate when they are hit. Each Wack-A-Pac has sodium bicarbonate, which is a powder, and citric acid, which is a liquid, inside. Below are pictures of what can be found when you open a Wack-A-Pac. So you can see here, this is the Wack-A-Pac before it is hit. When I take out the contents, you can see here, you end up with this powder and you end up with this liquid pouch. Now, what you need to do is tell me what is chemical A based on what I just read to you, and what is chemical B based upon what I just read to you. If you don't remember, you can go back up into this paragraph to help you. What I've also done is taken pack A and I cut it open so you can see that it is a clear liquid on the inside of it. So A is a clear liquid, B is a powder. So now that we have a little bit of background information on what the inside of the Wack-A-Pac looks like, let's begin. So you're going to take your Wack-A-Pac out of the pouch. So you can see it is in a plastic pouch. I'm going to open it up. Not cooperating. Give me 1 second. There it is. Okay, so you can see it's folded, and when I open it up, this is what it looks like. You can see here it's pretty flat. There is the one section that has that pouch here, which is what we talked about in the background information, but for the most part, it is pretty flat. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we are going to use the digital scale to determine the mass of the Wack-A-Pac before the experiment. Now, where do I put the mass? Right here, it says pre-mass of the Wack-A-Pac. You're going to click and edit here, and right here you need to draw and label what the Wack-A-Pac looks like. So I will lay the Wack-A-Pac here and pause for a moment to give you a second to draw. If you need to, you can pause the video or hold it from different angles so you can see. Okay, now we're going to come over here to the digital scale. I'm going to hit 0 to make sure it's completely cleared out. And I'm going to put my Wack-A-Pac on the pan. Okay, so you can see it is 6 grams. So now you come over here to your lab paper, pre-mass of the Wack-A-Pac. You're going to write 6 grams, and you've already drawn your picture. Next step, you're going to place the Wack-A-Pac on a flat desk. You will, I will hit the center of the Wack-A-Pac with a medium amount of force. It is your job to observe the changes that occur using your senses. So you got to listen really carefully. What do you hear? What do you see? You're not going to really feel anything because it's a video, but what do you observe? You want to look for clues or evidence to determine whether or not it's a physical change or a chemical change. Just to kind of show you, on the next page, this is what you have to fill out once I hit it. You're going to give me 3 pieces of evidence to determine whether or not it's physical or chemical. You've made a claim, it's a physical change, it's a chemical change. You need evidence 1, evidence 2, evidence 3, and you can go back to your old PowerPoints to determine that. So here we go. Listen carefully. All right, so now what you are going to do, you have to go back to your lab paper and you have to draw and label the Wack-A-Pac after hitting it. So here's the Wack-A-Pac after hitting it. Again, I'll hold it in a couple of different angles for a minute so you can draw it. Okay, now we need to determine the mass of it. So we have, it says here we need the mass of the Wack-A-Pac after hitting it. So we'll go over to the balance scale. It's zeroed out. And you can see it is 5.8 grams. That is pretty close and accurate to the 6 grams that we have before. So the mass of the pre-hit Wack-A-Pac and the post-hit Wack-A-Pac are about the same mass. So here you're going to put your 5.8 grams and you'll draw your picture of the Wack-A-Pac here. Okay. Now you need to go back into your notes. You've decided whether or not this is a physical change or a chemical change. Give 3 pieces of evidence. What did you hear? What did you see? What happened? You can use the inside the experiment to help you. So what I have done is I cut one of them open as the reaction was occurring, and below is a picture of what it looks like from the inside. So if you look very carefully, you can see some evidence here from this photograph that will help determine evidence for your claim. Finally, you have to come up with a scientific law. So we've noticed that the mass of the flat balloon and the inflated balloon are about the same. So come up with some type of a sentence or a law that determines how mass is affected during a chemical reaction. So you had the mass of the balloon before it was hit, which was 6 grams, and the mass of the balloon after it was hit, which is about the same at 5.8 grams. So the mass really didn't change. So you want to come up with some sort of a scientific law to discuss how mass changes during chemical reactions. And that is it for today. This is only part 1 of the lab. Tomorrow we're going to continue and actually write up our claim evidence reasoning statement on this experiment. Let me know if you have any questions or need help.